like comedy?
Yeah.
Do you like two white guys?
Yeah.
Do you like two white guys talking about comedy?
Oh boy, do I.
Well, then you're in for a good news because you're listening to Two Mic Minimum.
We just ET double finger banged.
Yeah, that's our thing now.
That's our thing now that no one can see.
No one can
Just-
see it. It's
us.
just for us. It helps keep the podcast strong.
Right, but when we do video, you'll finally see how aroused we get when we touch tips. Touch double tips.
Touch double tips.
With our two fingers.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we are for another hour.
It's going to be one of these, isn't it?
Oh my god. No, I just usually I kind of, it's like sometimes like I don't think about like, oh, we're recording a podcast, but like for some reason like I just thought like, oh man, we got to do this for an hour. I got to be on. I got to be on for an hour
because you have to go.
Because you have to perform like doing a good podcast. You have to perform in a sense. Like maybe you don't have to perform strongly, but you have to try to be interesting and entertaining, even if you don't feel like it. And that's what makes a good episode is when people are kind of on all the time and they're making an effort to be on.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why this show sucks because we're never on.
No, we're fine. Motherfucker, we went to San Antonio. We interviewed an Orlando comic. Motherfucker, we're going to interview a famous Russian comic. I think
true.
we're doing better than
better than most podcasts.
Exactly.
That's
we're doing
true.
better than 90% of podcasts right now.
I don't know. I'll give us.
I would say 90%.
I give us 85% of podcasts.
85? Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's a billion podcasts.
There's a billion podcasts. We need to get our numbers up for me to say 90%.
Yeah. Well, the
content's
episode,
okay. It's just we need to figure out a way to get more people to listen to this shit.
We need more Russian bots. And that'll happen when we get Dennis Chizoy on, which is presumably going to be next week's episode. Okay.
We should also say who the fuck we are every episode because we never do.
Oh, we always forget to do that. You know who I am. You actually don't. I am your skinny, slim motherfucking co-host, Peter Clark Deutsch.
And I'm even thinner than Peter. I am Sean Barry, baby.
Yes.
We are two. Or as I was referred to last night as Sean Crowley.
Sean Crowley.
Yeah, Bill's starting to lose it a little bit. He got my name wrong.
Oh, Bill.
He literally stared me dead in the face for about 30 seconds and couldn't think of my name.
Are we going to have to put Bill in a home?
Oh,
now?
I said that. We're going to put him down.
We're just going to... No, don't put him down. It would be funny, though, if
we're the ones who put him in the home.
Like a year from now, like all the Lucy's comics, like just drop Bill off at home.
Yeah, just put him
He's like, where's my wife? It's just like, this is where she's been dead for years. This is where you live now.
To be fair, there is a Sean Crowley. That's Jimmy's brother. So
okay.
Yeah. So, maybe that's what he was thinking. Welcome back. We haven't done just me and you in a while.
Well, we did before the Samantha Ivey interview.
We did?
And then, because we got back from San Antonio. We had nothing slated. So
that's right. Yeah.
We were like, let's talk about the fucking Bagel Boss video.
Oh, I forgot about that episode.
Stormy Daniels.
And Stormy Daniels.
And I picked that because I knew it would upset Sean to talk about this midget of a comedian.
And you know what? I was right.
Mm-hmm.
I was 100% in the right.
Yeah.
This guy's a bad dude.
But honestly,
he should kill himself.
Okay, but also he followed us on Twitter.
All right, that doesn't mean anything.
Which is I don't know.
That guy is so desperate for attention. So who was talking about? I think I was listening to somebody else's podcast. It's like, is that just what comedy is now? Where like if something bad, if you go viral, you just become a stand-up. That's your way out because you know somebody will come see you a little bit.
Well, so the thing about stand-up is that like essentially Chris did what every guy who feels like he's not getting enough attention does and decided to do stand-up.
Yeah.
Which is why we all got into stand-up. I mean, he's just doing what...
Well, he's taking, now that he has the attention, he's trying to translate it into money. Yeah. Somebody, I forgot what woman said. It was like, every guy thinks they're funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because when you talk to a girl, you're going to tell her jokes, right?
Yeah.
And if a girl likes you, they're going to laugh at you, no matter if they're good or not. So it gives every guy self-inflated confidence.
Yeah.
That's white male privilege right there.
That's why we keep flooding fucking open mics.
Yeah.
Saturating the open mic market.
Saturating the market, but only the cream of the crop rises, baby. And we're the
sometimes
cream. We're a white hot cream.
Yeah, we're fucking cream. Hey, we got interviews up the wazoo.
We got interviews coming in the coming
Not
weeks.
only do we have Dennis Chizoy coming up, which is presumably next week. If it's not next week, it's going to be like within 3 weeks. We actually got into contact with 2 other comedians who are outside the New York City area. Basically, what the premise of this podcast now is that we're 2 New York comics, and we want to talk about comedy that exists outside of New York.
Yes, we're going to try and find other areas and locations and then translate that into going viral in those locations, and so then they'll fly us out there to do comedy. That's
Yes.
kind of our strategy.
Yeah,
No one's willing to fly. I did text you drunkenly, mistakenly. We'll tell this story. So we were texting my friend. Went out to have some drinks with a friend on Saturday night, and I was a little drunk, and he was talking about, like, oh yeah, I listened to the podcast and stuff. Shout out Steven Rotolo. He's like, yeah, it was really funny. Your San Antonio trip seemed like fun and stuff. He's like, I'm actually going to Albuquerque. I was like, oh, you ever think about doing it there? I'm like, I have never thought about Albuquerque in the slightest. And any outside of Breaking Bad, I don't.
I think of Albuquerque once every 10 years.
Yeah, I think about watching Breaking Bad. And I'm like, man, that place is a shithole. And he's like, well, I'm going out there, and my company would probably pay for a plus-sized hotel room. So if you guys wanted to crash with me going out there, we could do that for you. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Let me text Peter so I remember in the morning. But I texted, he'll fly us out there because I was drunk.
And I was just like...
And Peter's like, yeah!
I was like, wow, your friend's willing to fly us out to Albuquerque? Like,
No.
fuck yeah. But then Sean's just like, oh, no, it's just he'll get us a hotel room.
Yeah,
And
which
I'm
is
like-
also pretty good.
Which is good, but at the same time, the expense is in the flight.
Yeah,
Like, the flights are the
that
most
is our
expensive part.
main hindrance is flying out there.
And Albuquerque is pretty much on the other side of the fucking country. Which is,
I wonder how far do you think Albuquerque is away from here? 2,000 miles?
Yeah, I actually think I've been... No, I haven't been to... I think I was,
I've been
it was
to
Santa Fe.
Arizona.
Or maybe I was in Albuquerque. So I went skiing in New Mexico once. And
There's skiing in New Mexico?
See, that's a common misconception. Like every time I tell people that, they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I guess the Rockies.
But no,
would go
there's
through it.
mountainous areas in New Mexico, and those get a lot of snow. I went to Taos when I was a freshman in high school, which is a long time ago at this point. And I think the flight might have been to Albuquerque, but we went to like Santa Fe immediately, and just like, isn't Albuquerque like one of the hottest places in the country?
I think it's the service of the fucking sun.
It's the service.
So
of the
we
sun.
do this. We're gonna go. I'm tired of going.
We're gonna go in July.
We'll go. Yeah, we'll go. And I'll get into this in a second when I talk about Nashville. But I'm tired of going really hot places.
Yeah.
Let's see. Officially, Albuquerque is 1,818 miles away from your house.
Okay.
And it is a...
Get us some Google driving directions.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Let's go right now.
Okay. If we got in the car and started driving right now, it will take us... Oh, what the fuck? It's still 1 day and 5 hours.
All right. So you guys ready to strap into a 29-hour podcast?
People would listen to that.
Because we're going to keep going.
If we just talked, it would just eventually just turn to me just saying, shut the fuck up.
What are the world record for the world's longest podcast is? I bet it's like 1,000 hours.
No, I think it's like a day.
Really?
Yeah. You have to talk for 1,000. That's like...
So it's
that's like a month.
Right. So it's the same people.
Yeah, same people on a podcast.
Okay.
It's definitely like, I'll guess 36 hours.
That makes sense because I'm pretty sure like the world record for longest stand-up sets like around that.
Dane Cook has it. He did like a day.
I thought it was like an Irish comedian. Maybe Dane Cook.
Maybe the Irish comedian. But I remember it was Dane Cook.
Like...
They were like going back and forth on it. Yeah, no. Also, it's just hard to do because people has to record. You have to have something that can record it that whole time.
Yeah,
like it takes up a lot of space.
Oh yeah, you need like a fucking like a 128 gigabit SD card or some shit like that.
It's a day. It's 36 hours.
All right. If this episode gets 500 listens on SoundCloud, we'll do a 24-hour podcast.
Yeah. No, we won't. Let's stop promising things. We still have our competition. We're never going to do.
This is going to be when someone drops a slur in a really awkward way, and this clip goes viral.
Yeah, God.
Oh shit! Not only is Sean canceled, but he's got to be on for 24 hours next episode.
This is just a pro tip. If you're going to be on something that's recorded and goes online, don't say any racial or homophobic slurs. Just shouldn't throw that out there for you. That's a free tip.
If you need a Google list of slurs, and put it by you as you're recording, just so you have that as reference.
You can only say the slurs that you're the demographic of. I can say fucking Mick from my Irish ancestry. That's all I got.
I didn't even know Mick was a...
Oh yeah, that's a real heavy insult in the Irish.
I mean, I'm also Irish, so I guess I could say that, but
I don't know. It doesn't sound right coming out of you.
I don't think any slur from me sounds right. Could you imagine me jollily
say
saying the N-word? Imagine me jollily saying the N-word. Like, it would sound both racist and off-putting.
Yeah, it would be just...
So, Sorry, racist. We're not going to do that.
Sorry,
I do think
racist.
it's funny, like if a podcast was recording and they had to print out an entire sheet of slurs.
Oh yeah,
just to put in front of someone.
Do not say
Do not say these things. It actually reminds me of. Do you know the show Review? It was on
that was
Comedy
my
Central.
favorite show.
Yeah,
I
like
loved it.
when he's reviews being racist,
so
and he
funny.
has to go to like a racial sensitivity meeting, and he's just like, "Excuse me, how do I use that slur in a sentence?"
Because he's never been.
And the moderator's just like, "What the fuck?"
That all right, it's Andy Daly's show. It is
That show is hilarious.
One of the best ideas
Yeah.
for a show I've ever
Oh,
seen,
yeah,
and one of the
yeah.
best executions. The greatest episode, I think, it might be the funniest episode of all time, is when he reviews Pancakes, Divorce, and then Pancakes
Oh yeah, that
again.
pancake. That's a
That is
great
the
fucking
funniest episode of television I've ever watched.
It also has like the darkest ending.
Oh,
of
it
any
is
TV
so
show.
it is so dark. The entire show is really
It's
dark.
so dark, but it's so
It's them
funny.
tormenting a man.
Oh man, but anyway, Sean, I think
Anyway,
we have
Peter.
we have two topics we want to talk about.
Hey,
You
Peter.
were in.
Let's catch up on comedy.
Oh, we gotta do that. I bet you said like 5 slurs doing that.
No, I didn't. Those are all robot noises.
Okay.
I don't know what slurs are you talking about.
There's a bunch. You can actually go on Wikipedia. I think I did that once. I went on Wikipedia and they just had like 1,000 different slurs for like so many different races. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of ways to hate people out there. So you definitely said at least one of them inadvertently.
Dennis just emailed us.
Oh, cool.
Cool, yeah.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
look at that after
we'll see
this.
if we'll see if we'll get you on next week.
Okay.
But anyway, catching up on comedy, I'll go first. I'll actually go first because something terrible happened to me.
Oh no.
Well, something great happened to me, and then something terrible happened to me. So I was on the Barely Making It show at the Creek in the Cave, which was a great show, and it was part of the Free Stand-Up Festival, which went on from the 15th to the 21st of September, where it was a bunch of New York City shows. They were all free to attend. I was on the Barely Making It show. That was actually one of my best shows all year. Like really
much time did you do?
fucking, huh?
How much time
I
did you
did
do?
8 minutes. Really solid. I'm probably going to upload that video to YouTube. So if you want to check out my YouTube, you can see that set. So I had a great set at the Barely Making It show. And I get on the train to go home. And as I'm about to get on the train back to Westchester, I was like, look, I went through my bag to get out like my planner. And as I got out my planner, I noticed I only had 3 notebooks in my bag. And I usually carry 4 with me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And the one that was not there was the one I took out very briefly at the Creek in the Cave to look through a joke real quick. I'm like, motherfucker, I left my notebook at the Creek in the Cave. So shout out to Meg Felling. She was doing the show after mine. I messaged her being like, are you still there? Like, is my notebook still there? She just left. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I end up like messaging them on social media. They tell me to email the owner. I email the owner saying, hey, did anyone turn in a notebook? I fucking call the place. And these people like don't really know where stuff in goes. So I had to like go back to the creek like a few days later. And basically the woman there, shout out to, I think her name was Allie, the woman who worked there. And she was essentially like taking me through the office where they actually like keep found stuff, and there was a lot of notebooks there and none of them were mine.
Oh man.
And I was like, but the thing is that office has so much clutter to it.
Yeah.
And as I left that office, like I went to the pile of notebooks, and I'm presuming if my notebook was turned in, it would be like on top of a pile. But it wasn't there. And as I left the creek, I realized like, oh fuck, I should have like really looked through that office, because my notebook might be buried at the Creek in the Cave.
Yeah.
Now this is a notebook I've had for 6 years. And the only thing that's significant about this notebook at this period of time is the fact that I've been like a lot of old premises that I've decided to rework, I've arbitrarily put in that notebook just because it's the one notebook that's the least falling apart.
Yeah.
Because actually it was the notebook that I used the least. So I have like a bunch of reworked premises in that notebook, and now it's fucking gone.
Yeah.
And I have 3 theories. Like, one, it's buried in the creek somewhere. Also, it has my name and number on it, so whoever has it can fucking call me or text me.
Yeah.
So my theory is either A, it's somewhere in the creek. It's buried somewhere in the creek. B, someone from the later show found it and took it and had the intention of giving it back to me, but just fucking forgot about it, and it's with them. Or someone just fucking, like a drunk audience member, took it as a mini souvenir, like, oh, I got a comedian's notebook, and now I'm never seeing it again. And all my hopes and dreams are in there.
Yeah.
My entire library of Alexandria was in that notebook, and like the real library of Alexandria, all that knowledge is gone off into the air.
It's a good reference, at least. Look, I do like the metaphor though that all your hopes and dreams in the notebook got thrown in the garbage.
Well, like
that's pretty funny.
I mean, I don't think
it does suck,
there's no way a cleaning staff would have just like found like a notebook that said jokes on it and was like, this is trash, and threw it
I don't
out.
know. I feel like at the Creed in the Cave, though, they have to make that decision pretty often. Like, yeah, this is garbage.
Motherfucker, I'll show them the tape. I murdered that night.
Yeah, I know, right? No, that's terrible, man. That sucks.
So this is just like a PSA for any New York comic. Like if you're at the Creek or if you're anywhere, if you see a notebook that has my name on it or has a number on it, because I think my notebook is the only notebook that has a fucking number on it, because I was looking through all the notebooks at the Creek and none of them had a number on it. So if it has a number on it, text me. Honestly, I had this like secret fantasy that I'd go to an open mic and like I'd discover a comic who like has my notebook and he's like trying to make fun of me with this notebook, being like, I found this comic's notebook and look at all these bad jokes. And then I'd stand up being like, motherfucker,
those are my jokes.
I'd take out my like New York driver's license being like, it's my name, it's me, that's my notebook. Give it back, motherfucker. And then I'd beat him up.
Fantasy.
No, I just like want to like own someone.
That's fair.
Just be like, motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm sure it's just lost in the cave. That's my actual guess.
I'm thinking about going back and just being like, hey, can I look through your office?
No, I bet. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a whole room
There's a lot of clutter there.
Yeah.
Not even in that office, but just in various nooks and crannies.
Yeah. I haven't been to the cave in a while. I should do a set sometime.
So look
do a mic. I don't know. That sucks, man.
I mean,
it happens.
It's never happened. And, you know, a lot of comics have been telling me, like, oh, this is why you use your phone. This is why you use Google Docs. This is why you go digital. And I get that. I get the appeal of that, because if you use Google Docs, like, you'll never lose anything because it's fucking saved all the time.
That's what I do.
But I don't get the same thrill from typing as I do from writing. I love writing much more than I do like.
You're much more of a quillin paper.
Exactly. And honestly, I'm willing to
as you write by candlelight at night.
Yeah, exactly.
My dearest Sandra, my latest set of the comic strip. It went awry on the cold eve of October, June. I don't know.
My dearest Sandra. Have you ever been riding the 6 train and some homeless guy comes up to you with his dick out?
Jerking off? There's so many goddamn New York comedians who are like, I was on the train, some guy was jerking off, and I'm like,
and I've never seen that.
You've never seen that? Oh, I've seen it happen, but like, I'm like, I don't need that to be a bit. Like,
yeah,
I think we should let them jerk off. I think the guys just
there's
like,
no stopping them.
Just let them. I mean, you could stop them. Just you're gonna get some cum on you. Like
exactly.
that's the problem.
I mean, I just choose not to. I mean, there's so many cars, you can just go to the next car.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh well, this one wasn't air conditioned anyway. I'm just gonna.
Like if it's a homeless guy, like that's all he's got. Like that's all he's got left.
Mm-hmm.
Let him finish.
Yeah.
That's all I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For me, I don't know. Fucking just a lot of mics. Last night somebody told me I sucked.
Oh yeah, is that a first for you?
That's the first time I've gotten a flat out "you suck" at Olives. Olives was particularly bad last night because when I got there, it was good for a change. People were paying attention. They were active. People were laughing, having a good time. Like, oh fuck yeah, I'm going up second to last. I'm like, I'm in the sweet spot, and then like 2 guys before me, the room just stopped.
Did they do all right, or did they?
Everyone after Steiner went up, everyone else just started sucking. Like, and everyone else was doing good jokes too. Like everyone was actively trying last night, and then just like no, and then me, I was like, this is so not worth it. And I was trying some new stuff, and then I was like, fuck it, I'll do some old stuff. And then I went into my dog killing stuff.
You're the old reliable.
Yeah, old reliable. And then someone was like, I don't like this guy. Like I'm like, I can hear you, ma'am, and she just goes, "You suck," and which made me launch into my new story I'm working on from the Stormy Daniels show, which we'll get into in a second. But
Wait, so she said you suck, and you said like,
just gave her a thumbs up.
and what did that get in response?
Nothing. She just turned away. It was like, thank you for the feedback, ma'am. I'm like, that's.
Well, you were bombing, right? So
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like, bombing at Olives isn't even bombing at this point.
I think like the move when that happens, if you're bombing and someone tells you you suck, you just be like, oh, thanks for pointing out the obvious.
Yeah, or being like, you like things easy, you get on the stage. Yeah.
I was, you know, the documentary I Am Comic.
Yeah.
There's a guy who talks about one of those instances where like someone just kept talking and then he was just like, well, you get up and you do this if you think you're so good, and he was just like, never do that because fuck, she was hilarious.
That is the fear. If she kills, you're like,
if she kills, you look like such an ass.
I do, but like, you know, I don't know. It's tough. Comedy's tough.
Look, it's a fucking Olives mic. You know, it's whatever.
It's whatever. What have you?
Yeah. The thing you just learn about comedy when you do so many different crowds is just like sometimes a crowd's not going to be with you, and if they're not with you, and you're doing material that works like, I don't know, at least 80% of the time, like you're fine.
Yeah.
You're just not connecting with that audience
at
the moment. And you can either look at that as like, okay, well, how do I reach that kind of audience next time? Or you could be like, well, these people fucking suck and I don't want to be a comic for them.
Yeah, I know. It's now reached the point where every time I go to Olives, after every set, I say, I'm never coming back to Olives. And then the worst is like about like 3 weeks ago, I made this huge stink. I'm like, I'm never fuck this place. I'm like on stage. I throw like a temper tantrum.
yeah.
And then I go the very next Monday. And I'm like, fuck. All right, fine, fuck it. So now I decided purposely I'm just going to end every set. Even if I do well, I'm never coming back. And I'm just
that would be funnier. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just every week. I'm never coming. And I'm just going to keep showing up.
Well, I think you got to wait for a moment where you like murder and you're just like, fuck you guys. I'm never coming back to this shit.
Yeah. The problem is I've killed it Olives. I'll say 4 times.
Out of like 50.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 4 out of 50. Yeah, that's about right.
I mean, that sounds right for anyone, really. At that
Some people do pretty well. Mm-hmm. Steiner usually does pretty well.
That's good.
Yeah, it's whatever. What do you want to do first? You want to talk about Stormy, or do we want to talk about?
Well, you were in another part of the country, and the
police just drove by.
Oh fuck! That was like the second time we've recorded the podcast and the police drove by.
Yeah,
I think they have this podcast tapped.
That's fair. They're just waiting. They're listening in. I guess we'll go further back to my trip to Nashville, Tennessee, baby. Yeah.
Sean texted me saying, this might have been a drunk text where like, I have a great story.
I was sober. I definitely overinflated the story.
Okay,
but
I have a great story.
Okay,
but either way, like you did a mic or mics.
I did Nashville? A mic and I did a show in Nashville.
Oh, you did a show.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Well, let's talk about that. So you're in Nashville.
So I knew I was going to Nashville for a while. I was planning it as a little birthday trip for myself because I like to get out of the town and just start doing stuff. So I'm staying with my friend Christine for 5 days. And I get out of Nashville and I instantly love it. It's the hard boozing, hard partying. Everything's kind of close by, but like it's still a city, so there's a lot of shit to do. It's the bachelorette party capital of the world.
Fuck yeah.
Where it's just nothing and like women in their 40s trying to prove to themselves they still have it, like, which is my main 2 demographics. Like that's what I like. That's what I want. So I'm in for a good time. And then so the whole I wanted to do at least a couple mics and trying it on shows and stuff, sort of like what we did in San Antonio. Problem is I'm an idiot and I don't know how to fucking do this. Like I don't know how to contact people on Facebook. I'm just like, I type in Nashville comedy, and if nothing pops up immediately, I'm like, I'm done. That's how I do it.
Well, usually what people do is they just say, hey, they post on their wall saying, hey, does anyone have any contacts in Nashville? And usually sometimes people
I don't post on my wall ever.
Juan Carlos was like, hey, do you guys know anyone in San Antonio?
Yeah.
And I actually asked him, like, are you trying to get on stage? He's like, no, I'm just there for a day. But I'm like, okay, I could have helped you there.
We could have helped you in every regard.
For your future reference.
Reference. I don't know. I'm going to stick. Because my strategy worked too. So I just then... should I tell the whole Nashville story or should I just tell the comedy? We have 20.
We'll tell your experience doing comedy there because I want to like try to
this is a comedy podcast. So the first night I don't do anything because I just wanted to drink and party. So that's a Wednesday night, so that's done. So the next day I'm like, okay, let me go out and see what I can do. So I just Google Nashville comedy open mics. I find this there's 2. I go to this one called the 2 Kegs Brewery. Just it's your standard like brewery, like like a lot of barrels everywhere, bar, kind of a cramped space. It's kind of it's fine, and it's an open mic, and then it's like there's like 12 people, which is actually the perfect amount, but they're all dressed the same in just flannel, like cowboy hats, and like okay. And I realized most of them are actually transplants out of not from Nashville, but so many people were moving to Nashville now. So I go up and I'm like, oh.
Wait, were those all comics who were wearing like the?
Yeah, they were all like, I was like, was this purposeful? And then
oh wow, this is like what we thought we were gonna see in San Antonio.
Yeah, just like a lot of stereotypes, and I realized most people are doing it as like a joke, I guess. Yes, I go up, and then it's just like I just did 5 minutes, didn't think too much of it, and I decided just to go ahead drinking afterwards. I didn't put any thought and time in talking to people, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just try this one more time. No, I should finish the story. So I go up, and I do pretty well. And then I'm going out drinking, and I decide I'm going to go out do karaoke later, which is
as always,
I'm a big karaoke whore. Like that's people should know that about me. And so I go to this place, and then I'm about just before I'm about to go up, this girl is like, "Hey, were you at that mic earlier?" And I'm like, "Well, yes, ma'am, I was." If I ever
sound like a 50-year-old Texan.
I was going for Johnny Cash, but whatever.
Okay, I don't know.
And I'm like, yeah. So, and as we all know, my comedy goals are what? Everybody say it with us:
get laid,
kill myself,
and a few other like Feinstein or Love.
They're not as good to repeat over.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh shit, this is going nicely and going well. And she's like, oh, you're so funny. And I'm like, yeah, I am.
Did you say that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, of course. I'm an asshole. I'll say anything.
Fuck yeah.
And
so how old was she? Was she like your age?
She's like 20. She's somewhere in her 20s. I couldn't.
Yeah, I got you.
She could have been 22. She could have been 29.
You said it's either like your age or it's like the 40-year-old batch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not. I'm not cutting her in half and counting the rings.
Right. Which is a weird way to describe.
Yeah.
Finding out a woman's age.
Yeah. I want to split her in half, not cut her in half. You know what I'm saying? Hey.
I want to split you in half and make sure you're at least 18 or older.
Yikes.
But anyway, yeah, so you're hitting it off with this woman who was at the mic.
Hitting off with this woman. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to get laid, and then I can kill myself, and I'm done with comedy. Like, there we go. Nice, quick little run. All right, I do go karaoke, and I'm like, all right, I'm hitting it off with this girl. Then, as I'm performing, her boyfriend comes up and just... comes like that classic, just comes behind her, like grabs the like that ass slide thing. But like she had been flirting with me like the whole night, and I'm just well, no. I'm glad to say I can always be sad when I'm doing comedy. That story was not good for this podcast.
No, I think it was a good story. Yeah. I feel like there was just definitely more to it than you.
There are parts I'm forgetting at this point. Like, you know what I mean? I forget fucking everything.
How long were you talking with this girl for?
At least 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
2 hours.
So
I'm thinking she's been in a relationship for a while.
I don't know. I feel like I very easily could have had sex with her before the guy showed up. And
yeah.
Anything goes in Nashville.
I'm thinking she's been in a relationship for so long, or at the very least is tired of it, and she's just like, I want to talk to someone else. Look at this big boy. I want to talk with this big boy.
Yeah. Yeah, her boyfriend looked like you too. Is the worst part. Just
you got cock blocked by me.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Wouldn't be the first time. Won't be the last time.
That's my comedy goal now.
Yeah,
is that I got to cock
you
block
gonna cock block me. That's fine.
It's cock blocking.
You can be my enemy.
I need to like make out with a girl, then like bend her over and like look into your eyes as I'm doing it. Like you. You were talking with this girl, motherfucker. Okay, cool.
So next day, I'm like, all right, it's a Friday night.
Actually, can I just stop you right there?
Go for it.
So you texted me that you had a story for the podcast.
That was
that night too. Actually, I did run into a girl that night. I was at a club after a mic with some friends I knew from Binghamton who were part of the improv troupe. So we go to this club, and as I was about to leave, this girl says to me, "Hey, did you go to Binghamton?" And I didn't know who this girl was at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I did go to Binghamton. And like, we just started talking for a little bit. Not too long, like only 5 minutes, just talking about like where she lived. I didn't get why she recognized me though, other than that, like we probably were in the same building, like at one point. like my sophomore year, her freshman year. I think she's a year younger than me. So we like talked for 5 minutes and we exchanged numbers. And this is as you were trying to also. So we were
trying to fuck.
We were in sync.
Let's just say we were
trying to get laid.
We get horny around the same time at this point.
But she leaves, and then we text for a little bit. But we stopped texting, and the last text I sent her was when I had to reveal that the reason why I was at that club was because before that I was doing a mic because I do stand up. And she has not texted me back since.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's fair.
Well, that's a lost one right there.
I realize now that we've been doing this podcast, we're starting to sync up. You know, like women's periods will sync up. Our horniness
our
is
erections
syncing.
are syncing up.
All right, so the next day I'm like, all right, I want to see if I can get on a show somewhere. And I'm like, okay, so I look up all the comedy clubs. What I know about well enough the most is Zany's. It's a chain, but I know Zany's in Nashville is pretty well regarded. And so I call it up, and I'm just like, hey, I'm from New York. You know, I'm an Omega, but I'm on some shows. I can send you a tape if you want me to. It's all on YouTube, and they're just like, no, click. And I'm like, that's fair. I was just cold calling. I was like, I just like, hey, give me a 5-minute guest spot. You know, nothing big, nothing big. I just like, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, I tried Third Coast Comedy. And they're like, oh, yeah, sorry, listen, we're super booked, but if you're ever back, just let us know ahead of time. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fair. I probably should have started more than just the day of to get on the spot. And then I'm like, all right, do number 3. It's the Comedy Bar.
Hell
the Comedy Bar. And I'm like, okay.
That's not a bad name for a club, in my opinion.
No, here's the thing.
I like that more than 90% of names of comedy clubs I know.
It's pretty direct and to the point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And they're like, hey, why don't you come down? We'll talk. And I'm like, okay, fine. But it's like where my friend lived. It was like a 5-minute walk. It was like perfect. Okay. I'm like, all right. And they're like, yeah, listen, man. You sure you want to?
Oh no! Like they don't have faith in their own club.
Kind of, yeah. Like because they're like, you sure you want to? I'm like, yeah, dude. I love doing this. I'm like, I'd rather see if I can flex it out a little bit.
Wait, did they know you're from New York?
I'd already established.
So they might have said it because they were like,
let me see if I can look at
New York comic wants to perform here. All right.
Let me see if I can find his name real quick.
Because what we've learned is that people think New York comedians are hot shit when they're outside of, like, people outside of New York think we're hot shit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay. And this guy, his name's Matt, really nice guy. I got his information, so if we ever want to go back there, we could probably get some shows. But
awesome.
That's a side note. And I'm like, yeah, man, like, let me just do a little time, like whatever. And she's like, okay, cool. Actually, we have a lot of New York comics. And then, again, really should have written all their names down because the woman who was also from New York, she was actually from Toronto. She's from Toronto, moved to New York, and now tours doing comedy. And I'm like, fuck, she was cool. I think her name was Jenny. I don't know. I really should have written it all down.
Yeah, people, look up a Jenny from Toronto who tours.
New York. Listen, this is why I need a partner, because if not, I can't do this shit solo. Like all I have is the confidence to talk to strangers. You have the one that would like do like the work part.
And you have no brain capacity to remember shit when you're inebriated, essentially.
I really don't, because I've been dead. Because I just drink all fucking dead. So I've been bloated as shit the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been big. I look bigger than usual.
It's all the beer. If I cut beer, I'll be hot. I'll be hot once I cut beer.
I don't drink beer. People know I drink rum and cokes. People know that. And if I did, I would be hot. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And I'm like, okay. Well, and I get in there, and like the crowd was bigger than what the guy was making out to be. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, this is.
So were you on a showcase?
Yeah, it was like a comedy showcase. It was like the 9:00 show on this Friday night. I'm like, fuck yeah. And I'm like, I see the room's pretty. It's not packed, but it's full enough. Like it's
How
like
many people?
I'd say 25 to 35.
Okay.
Yeah, like somewhere in that. I'm like, this is good. Like the room's dark. Like it's a good looking room. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. Why this guy's like so. And then the first guy goes up. And now this guy is a fatty. He's bigger than me. He's like twice my size. And he's doing fat jokes. And I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, like, that's our thing. But then he's not getting any, like, some of them were pretty good too. And he's just not getting any laughs. And a woman heckles him. He's like, you shouldn't make fun of yourself like that. I don't like that. And he's like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, that's worse. Like, it's the thing. It's like, when you're making fun of yourself, the worst thing you can hear is somebody saying, don't make fun of yourself. Right. You should love who you are. And
Love
I'm like,
who you
that's
are.
not. If I loved who I were, I'd be on doing fucking stand up.
Love who you are, but make fun of other things.
Yes.
Like Trump. Make fun of Trump.
Yeah, actually, that basically might as well.
Make fun of Mitch McConnell.
And then he's just like, so he bombs, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
All right. So I go up there, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna do fat jokes. Then I'll go into some other. I'll do some Tinder dating shit, and then this group that's right next to like the table, like the VIP spots at White Plains now, like that's basically where they were on the stage. They just decide, yeah, we're just gonna talk and have our own conversation the whole fucking time. And they're all like Louisville Cardinal fan, but because the football team was playing the next day, and so they all roll in town, and they don't shut the fuck up the whole fucking time. And they're like heckling, and they're like, man, I'm like, hey, shut the fuck up, you dumb cunts. I was
said that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was a little drunk, and I was saying it's cunts in the pejorative.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't call me a fucking cunt. And then it gets into one of those just like, and I'm like, hey, listen, you guys should kill yourselves because Tennessee's terrible. And
fucking everywhere you visited so far to do comedy has been terrible. Texas was terrible. Tennessee is terrible. Fuck your states.
They're worse than New York. I'll say it. They are worse places. And I came in with an open mind. I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, New York's great. I'm not. But I go to these places. I'm like, these places are fucking terrible.
You're just hyping up Nashville though at the beginning. You were like, Nashville is
So
awesome.
I was going to get to the moral of the story
Okay,
there in a
okay.
second. So yeah, so that was and then everyone bombs, and the guys just kind of looks at me as like, kind of told you. And I'm like, that's fair. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to drink the rest of the weekend. I don't feel like doing any more comedy. So that was me in comedy in Nashville. And Nashville is a very fun city. I would like to go back and like really do it comedy wise, because it was a vacation party. Like I wasn't taking it too seriously, so I would like to see what it's like if we really did something there and really got into the scene. Because I was mainly hanging out on the strip and just doing that. What I realized though, if I spent too much time there, is that it was like Christmas every day, where it's like I enjoy this all too much. Where I drinking, partying, dancing, music.
Yeah,
you can't do it every single day.
You can't do it every day.
So that's that was my thing, and I'm like. I do like Nashville. I went to the Tennessee State Fair and I realized Tennessee is disgusting, but Nashville is nice. Same with San Antonio. San Antonio, you guys are great, but
the rest of Texas,
but also
probably...
shut the fuck up about it. Like just,
yeah.
There's
I like how we're trying to promote other cities, other states, and Sean's just like, fuck Tennessee, hated it.
Well, all right, be better. Like that's my. Fuck New Jersey.
Yeah,
I'll give me that guys too. Like, listen, I'll say good states right now.
Yeah.
New York.
Fucking New York is like
that was it.
Like 20% of New York's cool.
Like New York's great. What are you talking about?
Like upstate, like
yeah, even upstate. You have New York City.
Upstate is like a wasteland.
What do you mean? There's beautiful forests and waterfalls.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just jaded because I was. That's where I went to
Binghamton,
school.
which is a turd hole.
Yeah, well,
that's the
we
only
might
way.
go up to Binghamton. I mean, we could,
might.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna say, man, Binghamton, fuck it, to their faces, and they'll agree though.
No, I don't think Long Island. We talked shit about Long Island.
Yeah,
last
I hate
time.
Long Island.
Exactly. It's like fucking. I think there's.
I'm saying, but there's good part. I don't know.
Every state has cool parts and shitty parts, and I don't think any state is like immune from that.
I've also realized don't go to those states in August and September because they're both 1 billion degrees outside.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to Russia in January.
We're going to Russia in January, and Sean's just gonna be like, "Fuck this country. Putin's a motherfucker."
I'll say that. If I didn't think there was a good chance I'd be thrown in the Siberian prison.
Yeah,
that's another thing too. I think I should play Bert Kreischer in the Machine movie. Mm-hmm. Did you see this?
No, I did not see that.
So Bert Kreischer's very famous bit / story.
No, I know.
The Machine. They're adapting into a full-fledged movie, and Bert Kreischer's like, "All right, now I just need to pick who to cast." And our boy Frankie's like, "Hey, cast Sean Barry as you." And I'm like,
"Yeah, you definitely should go for it."
That's a role I could play.
Yeah. Are they going to do auditions in New York or is it?
I don't know.
LA?
I've been looking into it because I've auditioned for a handful of things. And I'm like, I could play that role.
Oh yeah,
like Bert Kreischer, man. Like I could do that.
Fucking yeah. I'll tag Bert Kreischer and be like, listen to this podcast.
Yeah, why not?
Cast my boy Big Sean Barry.
Yeah, Big Barry, man. Like I'm a wild party dude, I'm gonna learn a little Russian.
I can't believe that. Like he was voted by what was it? Like he was some publication declared him like the #1 partier at the #1 party school.
No,
which
you
is
don't know that
Florida
story?
State. No, I know that story.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
was
like,
Playboy magazine.
that's so fucking wild.
Dude, you know Van Wilder's based on him, right?
Well, I knew that. I haven't seen the movie, but like I know that. But it's like so fucking crazy that like some movie execs were like, we're gonna like option the rights to your life and make a movie out of it.
A hit movie.
That's so cool.
With multiple
But
sequels.
Bert Kreischer's like, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, like I feel like he might be one of the best guys to see live.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, I'm just in a good mood the whole time.
But also, he just seems like a very chill guy.
yeah, like he just seems like a cool dude. Like, I've never heard anybody talk ill of him in the slightest.
Yeah. That'd be a good guest on the podcast, Bert Kreischer.
Bert, come on the
Bert
pod.
Kreischer. Well, if you get the part,
If I get on the part,
we'd have to get him on the podcast.
If I play Bert Kreischer in the Bert Kreischer movie of The Machine, well, hey, this podcast is done.
Yeah, it's so true. We're deleting everything.
Yeah, this is
to prevent him from getting canceled.
Yeah,
like
I can't
that.
get canceled, and then I'll just be too good for you guys, and I'll never talk to any of you again.
Fair. I mean, that's what's going to happen with one of us. One of us
will make it big. And
one of
never
us is going to get a big thing, and it's just
I've said
like
this before, because a lot of us doubt it sometimes. Like, oh, our career, but like, you know, there's about, let's say, 50 of us in the Hudson Valley scene for realsies, and then out of the 50 of us, let's say 20 of us are like B+ and above, right? And of that 20, maybe 5 of us are in that A, will be in that A range, and of that 5, one of them might be able to make a living touring this.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's not that crazy though, because like every other profession, that those numbers are way higher.
Yeah.
Like those odds. So 1 in 5 to, I don't know, you're the math guy, but however that breaks down.
1 in 50. Because we started with 50 people.
Shut up, Peter.
No, I'm the math guy. I know this.
Yeah. 1 in 50. 1 in 50 is not bad.
Yeah, 2%.
If it's one of us, I guess. And then,
but also, I mean, your parameters are they make a living touring. I mean, there's other ways comedians can make a living too. Like,
yeah, I just said touring, but makes it, I guess.
Makes it, yeah.
I guess however you want to define making it as.
You know, there's a great like article I have bookmarked that's like, I think it's a Vulture article. It's titled 20 Ways Comedians Make Money in New York City and LA. And it like breaks down their finances by like, some of them make a lot of money doing stand-up, but others make a lot of money doing TV work, or other people make a lot of money doing podcasts or doing sketch shows. Like there's so many.
If I were to take a guess, our money would come from podcasts.
Yeah. So there's like all different.
At this point, I've realized like if I break down my skills, I think my number 1 would be like photography. And number 2 would be as a podcaster.
Yeah.
And then like 3 would be masturbator. And then 4 would be stand up.
Be a cam girl.
I'd be a good cam girl.
Yeah.
Do you know who Gardner Minshew is?
Gardner Minshew.
He's the current quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
And he is known for pre-gaming, stretching in just a jockstrap.
Yeah.
And this came out when he got named starter these past 2 weeks. So there's all these pictures of him just in a fucking jockstrap. So Cam Soda offered him $1 million sponsorship to stretch out in one of their, I guess, new like dick puppet things they have. And I think the NFL's blocking it, but it would be so.
Yeah, of course they're gonna block it. That would have been a great deal.
But like, come on, like, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Let him make some fucking money.
Free the fucking peen. Enough of these societal stigmas that the penis is something to be afraid of.
Look, here's the thing. Like football, it's whatever your opinion on it. It's whatever. The NFL, fuck that corporation. Fuck them.
It's a non-for-profit. Whatever.
Yeah,
the NFL sucks.
The NFL is just a terrible corporation. But anyway.
Yeah. So that's.
So that was your experience in Nashville. Actually, how did you end that show? Did you just like? You just said fuck Tennessee and then
I just said fuck Tennessee. And my time was up, and then I watched. Then I watched the other comics also bomb.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, so anyway, we also saw one of the most interesting comedic performances of our generation.
Let's back it up just a hot minute.
Yeah.
The true opening of White Plains Comedy Club was this past Friday under Z Prime Steakhouse in White Plains, New York.
Which White Plains is about like, I would say 30 minutes outside of New York City.
Yeah, whatever it is. It's
you know, you take a train there. It's about 10 minutes from me.
It's like, I don't know, like the second largest city in Westchester.
Yeah, it's the second largest city in the Westchester. It's the county seat of Westchester. It's like a middle-sized city.
Yeah, it's nice. It's bigger than San Antonio.
No, it's not.
No,
San Antonio is the 7th largest city in the country. No, the population's like around 60,000 people. But it's got like businesses. It's got tall buildings.
Whatever. It's doing well for itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's opening night after we were on the soft opening, which was soft. Where Peter midway through says like, "Why am I even doing this?" Which was best line of the night when you went up.
Fuck, did I say that?
Yeah, you said, "Why am I even doing this?"
Yeah, I think I did say that out of frustration. Well, backing it up a little bit, so yeah, there was a soft opening of White Plains Comedy Club
last
Thursday, which all of us were on. You and I and
all
Frankie,
our friends,
Frankie and Jimmy, just all the people who were active in the Hudson Valley, and there was also some like.
Friends of Lucy's and like stuff like that.
More seasoned comics were on that show, like people who like really knew how to like work an audience, like people who've done a lot and people who've had a lot of credits were on that show, and none of them were able to really. Well, some of them were, but barely any were able to really break this audience.
Yeah,
this audience was very, very tight from the very beginning.
Yeah, they could not. We just couldn't break through to get a good. And there was a decent size audience, but the room's so big and it was so new. That's why it was a test run night. So let's jump to Stormy, right? I think that's all.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk more about our.
Yeah, I just bomb and I get off early because I'm like, this audience is not having me at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So Stormy was the official. If you've been listening to this podcast, was the official headliner of White Plains Comedy Club, which was that Friday. Sold out show. All these.
Bells and whistles.
All these ritzy Westchester parents are there to see her, which is as I predicted. It wasn't like
CBS 2 News' own Marsha Kramer.
Marsha Kramer was at that show, and which was crazy because I said her name to her face. I was like, "Oh, Kramer, Marsha, right this way."
Yeah,
I totally didn't know who I was talking to at all. But yeah, it was a packed house, as I predicted. Just all these probably liberal moms and dads who wanted to see Stormy Daniels,
and then all the creeps.
Were there any creeps?
You didn't notice all the fucking creeps?
Oh, I guess there were a few.
There were a lot.
I thought it was just mostly like
the people in the VIP seating. Man, they were gross.
But I think it was mostly just but people who voted for Hillary and who are our parents' age.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. It was it's like anything. It's like, it's either you're going to watch a train wreck or you're going to watch a boobness.
Yeah, so she had two openers. One was Chrissy Mayer,
friend of this
podcast. She was great. And then she had an opener who she's been touring with, Greg Studley, who I talked to after the show. Really, really cool guy.
And apparently not in porn with a name like Greg Studley.
That's so true.
But yeah, then it's one of those nights where they didn't do too well because everyone was there just to see Stormy.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of those we're not gonna laugh because we just want to see Stormy.
They did better than I think any of us did on the cold opener.
I don't know. It's people would not it took Chrissy a solid 5 minutes.
Well, it took Chrissy a while, but people were attentive to Studley. I remember.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. And so we come out and we're all thinking to ourselves, what is Stormy Daniels actually going to do?
What is she going to do? She's not a comedian.
Not a comedian. She's not a, she's not a, she's a trained professional.
Right. But she's been touring.
She's an actor.
But she's been touring before this.
She's been out on the road for 2-3 months now.
She was touring at Stand Up New York, or she was touring and went to Stand Up New York the day before White Plains Comedy Club. So she was hitting up other clubs. So we're wondering, what is she going to do? And she comes on stage with a glittery microphone.
Yeah, a glittery microphone.
She has her own glittery microphone.
She has her own mic.
Which, I roll right there when someone has to feel like...
Nah, I get it. I'd rather, think about all the germs and shit that are on microphones all the time. I would bring my own.
Okay, that's fair.
She has to keep her health.
That's fair.
Yeah. And also,
it fits her personality, too.
She's a stripper / ex-porn star.
Yeah, that's true.
What'd you think?
I always think back to the Kevin Hart golden microphone. I'm like, all right, but no, I think that's fair for Stormy. So she comes up with her two giant bodyguards. Her bodyguards, mind you, are very funnily enough, dudes. Just way too close to her throughout the entire thing.
They have to be because there's so many crazies that might bum rush the stage.
It's just so funny because they were so visible.
Yeah.
As she was performing and talking about I'm in porn, and they're sitting there stone-faced.
And basically, her act is just she tells dirty stories, which that's what she's gonna do.
Well, here's the thing: she did a fucking hour.
An hour.
She did an hour of stand-up. So it wasn't she
did a half
presented
hour
it.
stand-up
She presented I don't know, whatever. She presented it like stand-up. What I thought she was gonna do was she was gonna tell in a very non-performative way, like just some stories from her time in the industry or like whatever.
Yeah.
You know, because she seems like a woman who would have a lot of things to talk about. But she's like trying to like build this stand-up act. So she goes on stage and she tries to like pepper in these jokes, and she tries to do
an
it.
hour.
She's like trying to do it in this very cutesy way.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, as soon as someone attempts to like do something, like as soon as she attempts to do stand-up, her engagement with the audience just is reeled back by a lot.
Yeah, because they're all heckling and hollering and hooting.
Yeah, like if she just like was storytelling and wasn't trying to perform, I think it would have been a lot more engaging. But it was painfully obvious she was like trying to entertain.
Yeah.
And it was like not really hitting well with the audience. And she didn't bomb, but it was not like, she tried to present herself like this very seasoned comedic performer, which she was not.
She understands what it's like to have stage presence because she's been on stages.
Yeah, I mean, look, she wasn't terrible, but it was just like, I think what she was doing was not in her element at all.
Well, again, I've said before, it's less humiliating to do porn than it is to do stand-up sometimes.
Right.
So I'll tell my part of the story of this is I was hired to be the photographer for the night and take some shots. Because they made a rule, no pictures, no videography from the audience members, because that's how weird shit happens. Because TMZ, all that garbage. Understandably enough.
Yeah.
But for some reason, people took it upon me to tell me to go fuck myself the entire night. Because apparently, I came up with that policy instead of just being the guy they fucking hired to do this. And so there's this VIP woman who decides because she paid extra for tickets, that means she's more important than everyone else. And she, I don't know what's the cleanest way of putting this, is a capital K cunt.
Cunt with a K.
Yeah.
The worst kind of cunt.
It adds the extra emphasis of she just was like she was like she's like, hey fatty, I like who talks to another human being like that?
Wait, she called you a fatty?
Yeah, anyways,
fuck her. What the fuck?
They always do.
What the fuck?
Like, why are you allowed to take pictures of us if I'm not taking pictures of you? I'm taking pictures of the fucking stage. And I'm just like she's just like, yeah, I'm like, I gave her the old, I'm just smiling and nodding through it. I'm like, I'm getting paid. I don't fucking care.
Wait, so is she's mad at you because you're taking pictures and she can't?
Yes.
Oh, I thought when you talked to me about it originally, I thought she was mad because you were taking pictures and she thought she was in the pictures and she didn't want to be seen in pictures with Stormy Daniels.
That was part of it too.
Okay, yeah.
It was both that and it was both things. But like she was real mad about it, and then she's like, she's yelling now like over Stormy.
Yeah, no,
Stormy,
I heard.
Addressed, like he's not with me. I'm like,
I heard her, and when I heard her, I thought she was like, oh, this is like the MAGA plant in the audience who's trying to like dissent her, but it was just.
So then one of her bodyguards just like touched me. He's like, "Don't worry, I'll take care of this cunt." That's what he said, and I'm like, "All right, well, you said it too." And then I finished taking pictures. Was I'm like, I'll go upstairs, have a drink. I don't feel like dealing with this shit anymore.
I mean, also, you have a fucking fancy camera. Wouldn't you look like a photographer? Like,
yeah, you'd think that, Peter. Yeah. People have treated me like shit my entire life.
Yeah,
this is
stupid.
And I'm like, next thing I know is apparently she got tossed for heckling later in the night. And I know that her husband shoved her.
Oh, was that the same woman too?
Same woman.
Oh yeah, because that was the other interesting incident that night was that like she like I was actually talking with Greg and like these two women passed by and they talked to Greg and they were like, "You're so funny. You're funnier than her. You should be headlining," and it was just going on and on.
Yeah.
So essentially what happened later was like they kept talking, like there was a point where they kept talking loud enough that like and they were in the corners like aside from the stage, so like her team, which was like 5 people, like had to like escort them out, and then their husbands got involved and their husbands like tried fighting the people who were like trying to like get their girlfriends or wives to leave.
Yeah, like the guys were don't ever fight a real bouncer.
Yeah,
because they'll fuck you up.
It was just the most pathetic display of machismo I've ever witnessed, being like, fuck you asshole,
and
fuck you
surprise and nobody. What are they, Peter?
But so they leave upstairs. You were upstairs talking with Frankie. I was downstairs. What were they? I don't know. Was there anything else that happened as they were exiting?
No, it's just they all like got a very stern walking out, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that just shows how much of a shit show this show was.
Yeah, it was a wily bunch. It probably, admittedly, it's not how I would want to open the club, but it sold out, and I get, people, and she had a couple loyal fans. Some people really enjoyed the show.
No, yeah, there's people who really enjoyed the show. She also walked like a third of the audience. Like so many people were so disappointed in her for not being funny.
But like, and that's on them though. Like, what did you expect?
What did you expect from Stormy Daniels?
Yeah.
You expected her to be like a fucking 15-year seasoned comedian who knows how to do this. Like,
there are 15-year seasoned comedians who can't do an hour.
Exactly. It was so funny. Like there was like this one 60-year-old who was just like who left like going up the stairs, and he was just like, "Oh, she's terrible." Like the way he said it was so funny. It was like one of those. Like,
I know the exact same guy, but he's the one that complained of, "I don't like how the spotlight's on me."
She's terrible.
Yeah,
and it was so loud too.
Yeah, so that's all we have for this week.
And we wanted a photo with her though. I wanted her to autograph my tits.
I wanted to get her on the show.
She was charging for photos and autographs.
Yeah,
and
she charges a lot for all that stuff.
I didn't want to pay.
That's how she's making her money, though.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I wanted to get that photo with her.
Yeah, I can send you some photos of her.
Have that be the clip of the episode. Just me, the most innocent-looking man
just
next to
your face. I would pay her like
my face wouldn't.
I would
be
secretly pay her like $20 though to like massage your balls.
Just
that would get your face red.
Just like as the picture is taken, she just grabs my ass really firmly and like,
that every take together, I would grab your ass, make you think it's Stormy. Okay, I think that's good, right? We're at an hour.
I think we are in an hour. Yeah. So anyway, thank you. I think this has been a great episode.
This was fun. I had fun. Let's do quick plugs.
I don't have any.
I have a show this Thursday at the Millhouse Brewery in Poughkeepsie, New York, the Dirty Laundry Mike. I'm on a very funny show with a lot of really great comedians. It's me. Let's start over. It's hosted by Sally Torrejani, me, Dave Namry, Marcus Gavon, Frankie Becerra, and Renee Stanko, headlined by Andy McDermott. It's going to be a really fun show. Please come on out to that. Then on October 10th, I'm at Rhino Comedy. It's a Thursday. It is me, TJ Francis, Aaron Wohlberg, Nicole Halsey, hosted by Dave Namry, headlined by Jimmy McDonald. Oh, yeah. Did I say Travis Grant? Yeah, I think I did. Okay. That's all my plugs.
I don't have any shows other than strip spots, comic strip spots. I'm going to specify that other than my comedy stripping show that I do, but I don't do actually, but it exists somewhere, I bet. If you want, you can also check out the Lunch Read, which is what I write satire for. I actually just, at time of releasing this, I just released a new parody, a new satirical photoshopped website where I created a cameo account for O.J. Simpson. So if you want to check that out,
he might actually have a real.
He doesn't, and I checked.
Oh.
But the fact that he doesn't have a cameo account makes this perfect because it seems like he would have a cameo account. So I'm going to try to make people think this is real. I want it to be one of those like satire articles that people share around thinking it's real, but it's not real.
That'd be great.
So we'll check that out.
That way we can get OJ on the pod, so he knows what a big fan I am.
Yeah. Why aren't you verified?
It is bullshit. He's not verified. I stand by that.
Dude, he was fucking giving like legal advice to Antonio Brown on his Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm like,
two falsely accused men.
Exactly.
Okay, guys, also listen to my other podcast, the Big Barry Podcast. I put out a really funny one this week with John Scelzo called Going on a Date, where he and I go on a date together. That's all the teaser I'll give for that. Other than that, guys, my name's Sean Barry.
And my name is Peter Clark Deutsch.
And we were
Two Mike Minimum.